Good morning, beautiful lovelies. We have the boys from Spartan Air Solutions out here this morning. Gonna install the mini split in the guest bedroom. I'm working today, so I'm not really able to do any of it, but I'm gonna record them doing it, and I'll probably be popping in and out to give them some insights and stuff on how we want it done. These are the fellas that are doing the work. I'm gonna set up a tripod in here. Always feels awkward recording somebody other than myself, but they don't mind. To explain to you what's going on here, they're running the line set, which is the liquid and suction line from the condenser behind the wall here to the new head mount. They've drilled holes through the wall for the line to come through here, and they also have the condensate drain line going out through the wall. This is the communication wire, the low voltage wire that comes from the condenser on the other side of the wall to the head unit. All of it runs on a single 240 volt source, single circuit. Here's what the outside looks like. This is the communication wire that they run in tandem with the liquid and suction line that's in this, the brand name is Armaflex. It's just insulation for the copper wires here. Here's the disconnect that we installed a while back, and that's what we got going so far. One good thing about these mini splits, they come pre-charged from the factory because they're inverter based. It's hard for them to, they either have to weigh in the refrigerant or it comes pre-charged. There's no way to check pressures, subheat or subcooling, superheat, that kind of stuff for these things because they're inverter based. The frequency modulation of the inverter changes the pressure from the compressor because it's running at different frequencies depending on what the unit's calling for from the computer chip that's in it. You still have to pull a vacuum on the lines before you introduce the refrigerant, but there's no brazing. They use flare nuts, which are these right here. So they'll flare, they'll probably have to cut the outside, and then they'll use a flare tool to flare the copper and then put the flare nuts to connect to the condenser on the outside. Without interrupting them too much, what they're doing right now, cutting the flare nuts, reflaring the copper, connecting the flare nuts. For the liquid and suction line, they already ran the communication cable out through the front of the unit, which they will connect. And now they're tightening the flare nuts up on the liquid and suction line. All right, this is installed. Pain in the butt to get the line sets in the hole that they had to drill back there. You saw me in the video helping them push and pull it. But now they're gonna be right on the other side of this wall, working on getting the bracket mounted and the condenser mounted. And they'll have to obviously wire this up, pull the vacuum, but everything's connected in here, so it should be good. Right now they are fixing up the flares here on the compressor. They've mounted everything, got it mounted to the steel. They got the steel bracket mounted to the wall with Tapcons, and they have the condenser itself mounted to the steel bracket with another kind of, I guess that's a isolation damper, and then some self-tapping screws. Here's what the condenser looks like. Here's what this man looks like, hard at work. It's hot out here today, man. It's Florida out here. He's working on, he already flared the copper. He's getting the nuts put on the ports here. The bottom one appears to be the suction line. The top one appears to be the liquid line. The suction line's always going to be larger diameter. The liquid line's always going to be the smaller diameter. He put too much goopy goop on it. Now it's not wanting to thread. He goopy gooped it. Here's what this looks like. I'm going to patch that up later. I told him to just cut it and say whatever. These guys are doing a good job. Shout out to Spartan Air. I've actually recommended Spartan Air. They've done stuff at my house before. I've recommended them. Oh, look at C's taking a dirt bath. I hope I can zoom in close enough that you can see that. Big dumb donkey taking a dirt bath. I've recommended them to some people before, and they've done good work for them as well. So if you're in the Manatee County, y'all do Pinellas County, Sarasota County? All in Central Florida. Shout out to Spartan Air. Give them a call, 941-447-7960. I know that because the guy's shirt says it right in front of me. They're fancy. They got the field piece manifold gauges. They're pretty nice. I wish I had some field piece stuff. Field Piece is probably the leading manufacturer of HVAC diagnostic equipment. Here's the low voltage wire that goes out. They'll wire it up into here. Same thing on the inside. They'll connect a whip from the 240 supply here, and they will connect that into here. To explain what they're doing right now, they're running, they call it a whip. It's really just the electrical, the wires that come from the disconnect on the downstream of the disconnect to the unit here, and it gets hidden inside this cover. So it's 240 volts on a 20 amp circuit. Single circuit comes out, feeds the whole thing, interior and exterior. It's a 60 amp disconnect box just because I couldn't find a good one that I like. It matches all the other disconnects I have. You don't need a 60 amp disconnect on a 20 amp circuit, and it doesn't require a fusible disconnect, so I didn't put one on there. This right here is a vacuum pump. This right here is a really fancy field piece manifold gauge. So he's got this manifold gauge hooked up to the vacuum pump and the port. That's the suction line port on the mini split condenser out here. So what it's doing is it's pulling a vacuum in the line, so the entirety of the line set that runs all the way here through the condenser or through the air handler unit and then runs back. It's pulling a vacuum on that, and what that does is it lowers the pressure, obviously, in that line set, which decreases the boiling temperature of moisture in the line set, which will boil off any moisture in that line set. You don't want any other material besides refrigerant in that line set when you introduce it. Pretty neat stuff. The vacuum gauge and one to pull down. They're pressure testing it with nitrogen. What PSI do you put it up at? Or you just do whatever tank pressure? 342 tank pressure. They're pressurizing the lines, getting to see if they hear anything, and then they might use bubbles to see if they see anything. All right, so they were able to figure out when they pressure tested, it was these flare nut fittings weren't tight enough. So now they're pulling vacuum on it.
Just so you know, this was loose, so when it was pulling the vacuum, it was pulling air through here. And that's why it would never, second we tightened it, it shot right up.
So it wasn't anything to do with the line sets. Though these were a little bit loose, they were probably still holding pressure, but the vacuum pump, the bypass ports on the vacuum pump weren't down low enough. So we're already down to 572 microns. So yeah, they'll pull that for a little while. Here's what she looks like. She's running good. And here's what the outside looks like. They did a bang up job making this look pretty. I really like the brackets they brought and the mounting and everything. It just looks great. And then we have two mini splits in our master bedroom and master bathroom, and I had them bring me 2 of the wireless adapters that the new heads come pre-installed with. So now we can control those heads in the master bed and master bath with our phones, which is cool. So shout out to Spartan Air Solutions, James, Jordan, all those guys, Andrew, and the other fellow that was out here, whose name I don't remember because I'm a terrible person at remembering names, but he's really cool. They did a great job. Highly recommend them. Go check them out. See you next time.